there, it's Annie from the youth room at the BB Library, and I am back for another Wednesday Read Aloud. Today we are going to be finishing up the book Book Uncle and Me by Uma Krishnaswamy. Now, when we last left off, we had a couple different things going on. Our protagonist, Yasmin, has a visitor at her house. That's her uncle, Rafiq uncle, who is such a bully. And her dad, her Wapa, always has trouble standing up to Rafiq uncle. She's also a little bit worried about her best friend, Rini, because Rini's dad lost his job and Rini's parents have been fighting so much. Yasmin is also really worried about Book Uncle, who is the man who runs the local lending library in her neighborhood. And Book Uncle has received a letter from the city that says you have to close your local free lending library unless you can buy a very expensive permit. And Book Uncle can't afford a very expensive permit. So Yasmin has taken things into her own hands, and she's organizing her classmates to write letters to the different candidates in the upcoming local mayor election about Book Uncle and asking them, what will you do to help Book Uncle? Yasmin is really inspired by a book given to her by Book Uncle about a bunch of doves that were caught in a hunter's net, and they all worked together to fly up and free themselves from it. So Yasmin is now asking her classmates, other kids, to work together and try to get the mayor candidates to notice Book Uncle and help them with this issue. So all of the kids have sent their letters to the different candidates, and now we're going to find out if their plan will work. So let's jump right back in. Chapter 22, Connections. The next Tuesday is Republic Day. They show us a big parade on TV broadcast all the way from Delhi. Even Rafiq uncle is impressed, I can see. He can't find anything to criticize. The President of India gives her talk. Floats from all the states go past. Dancers dance and the marching band plays. After that, the local news comes on. First a few headlines, national news, then local. After that, we cut to a studio where all of the candidates for mayor wait, ready to be interviewed. There's Mayor Sly with his pointy mustache, and one man with a bald head, one wearing a dazzling white shirt, a lady in a printed sari, and Karate Samuel, looking very fine with a rose in his buttonhole. All of these people want to be mayor. The interviewer opens with some welcoming remarks. Then the talk begins. Back and forth, back and forth. I wait for someone to say something about Book Uncle. No one does. No one. What is wrong with them? I try not to fidget, and still no one says anything, which makes me so angry I cannot sit still, which makes Rafiq uncle demand in an irritated voice, "What is the matter, Yasmin?" "Book Uncle," I burst out. "He's an important election issue." He looks completely baffled, so I explain it as well as I can. I tell him the whole story, all the way from how I meant to read a book every day for the rest of my life, the pink notice, Mrs. Rao, my letter writing campaign, everything. We wrote all those letters, I say, and still no one cares. It does not look as if Rafiq uncle is paying any attention to my explanation. Instead, he glares at my father. "Who is this Book Uncle?" Rafiq uncle demands to know. Uma takes a deep breath. She picks up a small brass bell that sits on the end of the table next to the sofa. "Tambi," says Rafiq uncle to Wapa, "what do you have to say about your daughter roaming about here and there all by herself reading who knows what trash from the street corner?" Uma lets out a sigh, a deep breath that she took a moment ago. She looks as if she would like to throw the bell at Rafiq uncle. My father comes to life. My father sits up straight. He clears his throat. "Rafiq Anna," he says in his most respectful tone to his big brother, "I trust my daughter. I trust her judgment. I will not look over her shoulder as if I suspect she is up to no good." Uma's head jerks up. She puts the bell down, then she covers her mouth with her hand. Is she smiling? I can't tell. Rafiq uncle says, "Of course you trust her. I'm not saying," which is when I interrupt, not to be rude or anything, but because I can't stand it anymore. "Please, Rafiq uncle, don't talk about me as if I'm not here. And that silences them all. Totally. I say, Uma, Wapa, I'm gonna see Rini. Is that okay? My parents nod. I run out the door and across the landing and knock on Rini's door. We have to do something to help Book Uncle, I tell her. It's up to us. Well, what can we do? Rini says. Somehow, my confusion has been swept away by hearing Wapa talk back to his big brother for the first time ever. I don't know why, but I now see things very, very clearly. Rini, I say, there just weren't enough doves lifting that net. We have to get more. Rini is a little confused about what doves have to do with a piece of paper and the city, but after I clear that one up, she says, oh, now I get it. Of course I'll help you. We go door to door, up and down Horizon apartment flats. We tell everyone about Book Uncle. Whoever you vote for, we say, that person has to let Book Uncle keep his street corner lending library. Don't you agree? China Abdul Sahib nods. I know him well, he says. You do? How does he know Book Uncle? He never speaks 2 words to anyone. Here I am, getting that surprise feather feeling again. China Abdul Sahib drums against the doorframe. He says, music books. He gave me music books years ago when I thought I wanted to be an accountant. He changed my life. He's one of Book Uncle's patrons. I have never heard China Abdul Sahib make such a long speech. That Book Ayah is a good man, says the Istri lady from behind the tall growing taller pile of clothes she is collecting from the boy in 2C and the lady in 2A. She counts the clothes carefully. 4 rupees for each of the pants and the saris, 2 for the shirts and blouses. That will be 26 for you and 42 for you, she says. I'm sure she's right. She did that in her head. I would need a pencil and paper. I wonder if Book Uncle taught the Istri lady how to add. I don't know him, says the lady in 2A, who is new to the building. I tell her all about how Book Uncle always has the right book for the right person on the right day. I'll give my vote to whoever promises to help him, says the Istri lady. The lady in 2A nods. She is on our side. I miss him, says the boy from 2C. I'll tell my parents and my grandmother. So he's a patron too. We have to save Book Uncle's place, we say to Rini's mother in 3B. We tell her why. No question, says Shobha Auntie between taking sips of coffee from the mug in one hand and sending text messages on her phone with the other. Shobha Auntie is always doing more than one thing, which is probably why she's looking a little tired. You must make it a media issue, she tells us. Take it to TV. Rini looks at me. I look at her. How? We say together. Shobha Auntie nods. Connections, my dear girls. It's who you know. My heart sinks. I don't. Yes, you do, Rini says. Mummy! Shobha Auntie nods. I'll put word in at the TV station. You watch the news. What's today? Tuesday? How about Thursday evening, okay? Chapter 23. Fine. By Thursday, Rafiq Uncle has gone back to the village. He has finished his business in the city. That evening, Rini comes over to 3A to watch the news. She arrives early, so we go out to the balcony. Uma, I say before I close the door behind us, don't forget to tell us when the news starts. I don't think I have ever seen you so eager to watch the news, my mother grumbles, but there is a gleam in her eye. She's been gleamy ever since my uncle left. And another funny thing, I think my parents have forgotten to scold me for being rude to Rafiq Uncle. Rini and I stand on the balcony and look at the parrots fussing in the rain tree. The pink, flowery, feathery, leafy branches have to be clipped every now and then so the squirrels don't get into the flats and make a big mess. Rini coughs and shuffles her feet. Are you sick? I asked. Have you caught a cold? Does your stomach hurt? She looks as if she would like to curl up in some corner and disappear quietly. No, she says. I'm not sick. Then what? Nothing, she says. Something, I insist. Nothing. Something? Tell me. I can't. Am I your friend? I demand. Yes, she says. Then? So tell. Oh, okay, fine, she tells. It's Daddy. Your daddy? I lower my voice. Are your parents still fighting? She shakes her head so hard her plates flop from side to side. No, she says, but that's how I found out because they're talking to each other again and I overheard them. They were arguing about Book Uncle all this time, and I didn't even know. What? What did they say? Why is it so hard to get this story out of my friend? I try to be patient. Rini, just tell me from the beginning, okay? She says all in a rush, he sent the letter, he did, but it was for the association because otherwise we would have to pay a fine. He was only trying to help, Yasmin. What letter? What fine? Rini, I'm not a mind reader. Will you tell me what you're talking about? The letter to the city, she wails, complaining about Book Uncle. Only he wasn't complaining, really, just explaining that it was Book Uncle and not us. What does she mean? That must be the letter that the history lady told us about, saying some nasty person sent to the city saying nasty things about Book Uncle. That nasty person was Rini's dad? And what does she mean we would have to pay a fine? That does not seem fine at all. It all seems more puzzling than ever. Yasmin, Uma calls. The news is going to start in just a minute. Chapter 24. The News. Fortunately, there is no time for Rini to stay upset. She quickly tells me everything on the way inside from the balcony to the sofa where we settle down to watch the TV news. The city was trying to fine us. Us, all the people in Horizon apartment flats. They were going to do this because they thought we had set up the lending library just outside our building compound. They called the library clutter. Well, that was two things they got wrong. Rini's daddy tried to tell them the library belonged to Book Uncle and not us. He tried to explain that it was not clutter. He didn't say nasty things about Book Uncle, Rini says. You know he would never do that. Why would the city even care about Book Uncle's lending library being outside our building? We didn't mind, so why should anyone else? What is wrong with all these people? Don't worry, I whisper to Rini. We'll do something. She looks as if she wants to believe me, but she's not sure if she does. Truthfully, I don't know if I believe me. There they are in a row, all the candidates. They begin with things I don't know much about, like what do they feel about the new techno zone, and do they have a drinking water plan for the city? I should try to remember those things in case I ever need to know about them. Then the TV person says, I understand you have all received letters about a certain gentleman in our city. Says Mayor S.L. Yogi Raja, looking unhappy. Who runs a street corner library, says the TV person. Yes, says another candidate. Something like that, says a third. I wish to clarify, Mayor Sly says, his hands making designs in the air. This so-called Book Uncle person, he is, not to put too fine of a point on it, breaking the law. I have received complaints. We must make our city clean and green. Clean and green, yes, that's my motto. The TV person coughs. He turns to Karate Samuel. And you, sir? Do you have anything to say on this matter? Yes, indeed, says Karate Samuel, all bright and ready. I have received many, many letters from children about one Mr. Book Uncle. At last, at long, long last. I am so excited I jump up and down. My parents look at each other and they smile in that way grown-ups have when they're trying to understand kids, but really it's too much for them, so it's best to just smile and carry on. Karate Samuel's carrying on. I understand Mr. Book Uncle makes it possible for children to get good books. Can you think of a better thing to do? The TV person says no, he can't. He is a symbol of our city's pride in elderly people, children, and literacy. Karate Samuel pauses here as if he now expects applause. He has said some nice things about Book Uncle. That is a start. Slowly, I begin to clap my hands. Rini sniffles, but she claps her hands too. All at once, our little flat fills with the sound of people clapping their hands. I turn to see, who else is here? Why, the room is full. While we have been watching the news, it seems all the people who live in Horizon apartment flats have come to watch it with us. Even the newly marrieds from 1B are looking at the TV instead of at each other. See, I say to Rini, if one letter can cause a problem, many letters can make it right. She nods, but she still looks as if she's taken a step, expecting to find pavement under her feet, but it isn't there. Chapter 25. Just 1 minute. The next day, Wappa comes home from work a little early. He offers to take me to the La 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 restaurant for mango ice cream. Yay! Ice cream? Can I call Rini? Of course. I ring Rini's doorbell. She asks our Vind uncle. He goes and gets his wallet, which is how not 2, not 3, but 4 of us end up around a table at the La 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 restaurant, chatting over little bowls of creamy, melt-in-your-mouth mango ice cream. Ice cream is not the only thing to share. There's news as well. Rini's daddy has a job. He's going to be working at the TV station. They needed an accountant, and now they've hired him. He's excited, so Rini's excited too, and so am I, since that's how friendship works. Samples of new surprise ice cream for anyone? The waiter says. Rini and I both want to try the new surprise ice cream. The waiter says he'll be back in just 1 minute. As he disappears into the back of the La 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 restaurant, the talk at our table turns to Book Uncle. Would you believe the mistake I made, our Vind uncle says. He talks about the letter he wrote to Mayor Sly. Bad mistake, I tell you. I was upset because our association got threatened with a fine of 2,000 rupees for debris and clutter on the pavement. Why? Wappa asks. Why would they suddenly decide to fine us? Politics and crookedness, that's why, says Rini's father. He said that after he sent his explaining, not complaining letter, he got suspicious. So he asked a few questions. He found out that a crew of city workers had been sent to clean up the street just outside the Palm Tree Hotel. The Palm Tree Hotel is down the road from Horizon apartment flats. Why was the city suddenly so worried about the road outside the hotel? So Rini's daddy found out who owns that hotel. It seems the owner's daughter is getting married and the future in-laws are coming here from Mumbai for the wedding. Naturally, they're going to stay in that very fancy hotel that we walk past all the time but have never been in. They want to get the sidewalks cleared and cleaned in time for the wedding. We know that Palm Tree Hotel very well. Whenever the pressure in our water tap goes down, Uma grumbles, "Look at that lawn of the Palm Tree Hotel. Look at those fountains. They're drinking up our water." The just 1 minute waiter finally brings little sample cups with very pink scoops in them. Pomegranate. It tastes zippy and sweet. So who is he, says Wappa, the owner of the Palm Tree Hotel? Our Vind uncle lowers his voice. You won't believe it. One of the reporters at the station told Shobha. It's the mayor. The mayor? Suddenly, an ice cream scooper has scooped a giant hole in my insides. Mayor Sly? What? This is why he wants Book Uncle off the pavement of St. Mary's Road and First Cross Street? To clean up the street for his daughter's wedding? All the hoopla about fines and permits is just an excuse, says our Vind uncle. It's unbelievable. Book Uncle is not debris. He is not clutter. How can anyone say that about a lending library that puts the right book into the right hands on the right day? That sweet and zippy pomegranate ice cream suddenly tastes flat. Chapter 26. One at a time. Want to buy some papaya? Late that evening, the fruit man brings a bag full across the road. Sweet and nice, guaranteed. Not right now, I say, but wait till you hear this. And I tell him about Mayor Sly and the wedding and the guests who will be staying at the Palm Tree Hotel. The fruit man listens carefully. He wiggles and waggles his head to show me that he gets it. See that cart? He points across the road. The fruit on his cart is arranged in perfect pyramids. Guavas, sapotas, oranges, papayas. Each pyramid has many on the bottom, many more in between, and one on the very, very top. How do you think you make a pile like that? He demands. Carefully, says Rini. The fruit man laughs. One at a time, he says. One at a time. It's the only way. Come on, get busy. Start piling up your fruit. What do you mean? I ask. What fruit? He's speaking in riddles now, just like my parents. I mean, you need people on your side, he says, so you must tell as many people as you can. We don't have much time left. He may be a riddle talker, but the fruit man is right. I get busy. I talk to Anil and Rini. The people we know are kids, so that's who we tell. All day long in school, we tell. We tell our friends and classmates to tell their parents and their aunties and uncles and grandparents and friends and the people next door. Tell them the only reason the mayor wants Book Uncle off the pavement is to clean up the road for his daughter's wedding. How fair is that? Does the mayor think he owns every street corner? Is Book Uncle no more than debris? Clutter? Tell them, we urge. Keep up the telling. In the next 2 days, we set out again, up and down St. Mary's Road. Don't vote for Mayor Sly, we tell people. Vote for Karate Samuel. He cares about Book Uncle. Didn't he say so on TV? By Sunday evening, when the parrots have settled down to sleep in the rain tree branches, we drag ourselves back to Horizon apartment flats. My feet hurt. Renee has a blister on her heel, but we are wearing big smiles because we have done good work, and maybe, just maybe, Mayor Sly will lose this election and Book Uncle will be back on the pavement with his books. Chapter 27, Counting Chickens. Wednesday is election day. Uma votes, Wapa votes. They come back with little ink marks on their fingers to show that they have voted. Renee and I go up and down the stairs asking everyone in Horizon apartment flats, have you voted yet? Have you? Have you? The newly marrieds have voted. Yes, yes, they tell us together, holding up their index fingers with the little inky marks for proof. Shoba Auntie has voted. Arvind Uncle has voted too. Renee made sure of that. China Abdul Sahib has voted. Has Book Uncle voted? We race around the corner and all the way to his little house. Have you voted? We ask him. What's the use, he says. Book Uncle, I cry, you have to vote. With Renee's help, I tell Book Uncle all the things we've been doing to get his library back to its corner. If Karate Samuel wins, he'll let you put your library back. Don't you think you should vote for him? He looks at me through his thick round glasses. We mustn't count our chickens before they are hatched. What chickens? Renee and I say together. Then I get it. The chickens are like marbles and bricks and flapping doves. Book Uncle, I say, forget the chickens. If you vote, you will be one of those doves that managed to escape from the hunter. He stares at me. The doves, I remind him, in that book you lent me? You are right, he says slowly, in a very thinking hard kind of voice. I'll go now. Is there still time? Yes, we say. There is still a little time before the polls close. We see him on his way. Then we head back feeling as if we have done a full day's work. Renee goes home. I go back to 3A, where Wapa is boiling rice. Where's Uma? I ask. He tells me that she's taken the phone to the shop to be repaired. It's lost its ringtone, Wapa says, but Nathan's Electronics said they could fix it. Oh, I cry. We should have gone to the shops. We talked to lots of people, but we didn't talk to the shopkeepers. The rice boils over. Wapa says something under his breath, then turns it quickly into a cough. Talk to them about what? Says Wapa. About Book Uncle. I explain about the fruit man's pyramids of guavas, sapotas, oranges, and papayas, and getting big things done little by little and gathering the people we need. I tell him how I have been talking to people all day long, urging them to vote for Karate Samuel because he'll help Book Uncle and Mayor Sly won't. Wapa turns away from the steaming rice. He leans against the kitchen counter and looks at me. He looks and looks. He looks at me as if I have suddenly grown wings and am about to begin flapping around the room. I cannot tell if Wapa is smiling or serious. Is it possible to be both? Yasmin, he says at last. Election day is almost over. We'll know the results in a few more days. There's nothing else you can do. He is right, but I still go to my room and count the books on my shelf as if they've hatched into chickens. Chapter 28. Whose victory is it anyway? It takes too many days for the election results to come out on TV. I think I will go crazy from all the waiting. Why can't they add up the votes sooner now that everything is supposed to be double quick with the internet and all? Why are they so slow? People are always telling kids to hurry up. Now it seems as if the grown-up world has slowed to a crawl. A whole week goes by the way snails are supposed to. Although really, I've never seen a snail. They don't just wander around in the city. I get grumpy thinking of all the things I have not seen and do not know, including now, those election results. On Wednesday at dinner time, I pull the clothes off the washing line. I wash my hands and put the plates out for dinner. Then I help Uma put out rice and egg curry and crunchy fried yams and grated carrots with mustard seeds on top. By the time we finish eating, it's dark. The breezes blow in from the faraway beach over the city rooftops. Renee comes over. I go up to the terrace with her and pick up the flowers that have blown off the rain tree. Their puffy pink petals are turning limp. We roll them between our fingers and let the pollen streak our hands. Rini, Yasmin, Shoba Auntie is calling from their balcony. Come down, come listen. We hurry down, startling the lizards that are busy eating insects around the terrace lights. On TV, they are announcing the election results. Oh, look, 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 Rini shrieks and points. By a margin of 3,879 votes, that is a lot of votes, isn't it? Karate Samuel has won. It's all over the TV and the radio news. Within minutes, it's all over the people shouting to each other news too. We run up the stairs telling everyone. We run down the stairs telling everyone all over again in case they didn't hear it the first time. He won, we tell China Abdul Sahib. Perfect, he says. He won, we tell Shoba Auntie. We did it, she says. Arvind uncle beams. They are not fighting anymore, it's clear. He won, we tell the newly marrieds. They gaze happily at each other. He won, we tell the Istri lady, who is closing up shop for the day. Yes, says the Istri lady, closing the wooden doors of her ironing booth and clicking the lock. But will he remember our book, Aya? Her words sting. I want him to remember. I want it so badly that my stomach hurts. What was all the use for that work? What if this Karate Samuel actor person who is now mayor forgets all about the one thing that everyone wants him to do? The one person we all want him to help? Is the Istri lady right? Will Mayor Karate Samuel forget about Book Uncle? Her stinging words buzz around in my mind like angry bees. You worry too much, says Rini. I know, I say sadly. I can't help it. I go back to 3A. The TV is off and my parents are quiet. Everything feels empty because everything is over. I go to my room and I look at all the books on my shelf and I think, what can I do now? I pick up a book. It is the karate book that Book Uncle gave me. I should give it to Anil. He would like it. I open it. On the very first page it says, a true leader seeks to help those who are doing good. Doing good. That's Book Uncle. A true leader. Isn't that what Karate Samuel wants to be? I run to the kitchen and I pick up the phone that now has its ringtone back. I call Anil. Anil, I say, you know everything about Karate Samuel, right? Almost, says Anil. Why? Do you think he wants to be a true leader? Of course he does, says Anil. In that case, I say, we need to remind him. Are you with me, Anil? Hi-ya! Anil yells into the phone. Then he says, sorry, Yasmin. I did not mean to hurt your ears. It was just a karate say of saying, yes, I'm with you. Karate Samuel did not win this election, I tell myself. Whose victory is it anyway? Ours. That's whose. We won this election. Now we have to make sure he does not forget Book Uncle. Chapter 29, City Hall. 20 days after our victory, here are all the people who go to City Hall to welcome Mayor Karate Samuel as he begins his new job. Me, Rini, Anil, Anil's grandmother, my parents, Mrs. Rao, Shoba Auntie, Arvind Uncle, Chinna Abdul Sahib carrying his number 2 best drum since the very best one is too precious and also too big to carry around. The boy from 2C, his parents and his grandmother and their yappy dog, the newly marrieds, the school bus driver, the fruit man and his wife, the Istri lady's daughter-in-law, her son, her grandchildren, 6 babies and 3 donkeys. The donkeys belong to relatives of the Istri lady. They have come all the way from where they live by the river on the edge of the city. Very quietly, making no fuss, Book Uncle comes with us. In Anil's hand is the karate book, which I have given to him. He takes it with him wherever he goes. According to him, you never know when a karate book will come in handy, which makes sense to me. We arrive at City Hall and tell the doorman we want to see the mayor. He seems a bit startled, but he runs in and tells someone. He comes back and asks, do you have an appointment? We are voters, says the Istri lady. Do voters need appointments? The doorman disappears once more. Then he returns and tells us to wait. We wait. 5 minutes go by. 10. 15. 18. Just in time, that is to say before I explode with impatience, the new mayor himself comes out of City Hall. My loyal supporters, he says, flashing his shiny white teeth at us. Thank you for coming to see me. I have not won this election. You have won this election. He waits for applause. That is exactly what I thought. We won. But now coming from him, it sounds fake. There is silence, only breathing, and all of us are waiting. I look at Rini. She looks at Anil. Anil looks at me. Who is going to take charge? Anil holds out the karate book. I shake my head in confusion. Just take it, he whispers. So I take it from him, and somehow just having a book in my hands reminds me why we are all here. I clutch the book very, very tight. I say, my voice so very small in this very big crowd of people, Mayor Karate Samuel, sir? My name is Yasmin Cater, and I want you to meet Book Uncle. Mayor Karate Samuel stares at me as if I have just spoken in some foreign language. At last he smiles brightly. Oh, yes, he says, I remember. Something about a library, was it? Yes, Mr. Book Uncle can certainly apply for a non-commercial permit. I am speechless, dumbstruck. You could knock me down with a rain tree flower. What? That's all he can say? A non-commercial permit? And how long will that take? How much will it cost? Was the Istri lady right? Now that he is elected, Karate Samuel thinks he can brush us all away. He wants to forget all about us. Chapter 30. My voice. What can I do? I have to do something. I do the only thing I know how to do. I open the book in my hand to page 1 and I read out loud. A true leader seeks to help those who are doing good. I read it twice and suddenly the words are clear and true. The last time I read this book, the words blurred on the page. They made no sense. Now, I really understand what Book Uncle means when he says the right book for the right day. Today is the day. This is the book. So I use my best, listen very carefully voice, the voice that Mrs. Rao uses when she tells us something really, really important. Here are all these people who voted for you because they thought that you would do good. So, will you please tell us? At this point, I am shocked to find that my throat gets tight. This has never happened even once in my life. My hands get sweaty. My listen very carefully voice has holes in it. I cannot say another word. What do I do now? I have no other kind of voice left. Just then, when I can see that those chickens I counted too soon are starting to roll away like lost marbles, thaka thaka tham tham, thaka thaka tham tham. A perfect drum beat sounds from right behind me. Thaka thaka tham tham, thaka thaka tham tham. And something magical happens. My voice returns and it is stronger than before. An A1 campaign perfect, I mean it kind of voice. I tell Karate Samuel all about Book Uncle, how he has books for everyone, how he loves each book like a friend, and all he wants to do is share his books with the whole city, with anyone who wants to read one. He can't afford to pay for permits. They will take time. We can't wait for that. We need him now. If you are a true leader, I say, then you tell me, why do you have to have a permit in our city to do good things? And I hold out the karate book. Mayor Karate Samuel reaches out a hand. He takes the book from me. He opens it. He stares at it. He stares some more. He looks up and stares at me. If there was a feather handy, I could have tried it out to see if it worked as a knockdown weapon. Then the new mayor smiles a slow smile. I recognize that smile. It is the smile I smile when Book Uncle finds the right book for the right day, just for me. A true leader, Mayor Samuel whispers, and he turns the pages. You have more like this? He asks. Book Uncle folds his hands and tips his head and beams at the mayor through his super thick glasses. Many more, he says. I nod my head. The mayor looks at Book Uncle. He looks at me. He straightens up. He takes a breath. We all wait. Kids and grown-ups, babies and yappy dogs and donkeys, all of us together. You, sir, says Mayor Karate Samuel, in his best hero voice ringing out, will get your permit free. It will be issued at once. Express track, I promise you. I will see to it myself. The crowd goes wild. We roar and cheer and clap, foot stamp, drum, dog yap, donkey bray, baby babble, sing snatches of songs from Karate Samuel's movies, and shout, "Hi-ya!" Chapter 31, Book Uncle's Place. In just a few more days, an even bigger crowd shows up on the corner of St. Mary's Road and First Cross Street to celebrate the now officially permitted Book Uncle's free lending library. There are so many people in the city that the city has to There are so many people that the city has to close the road to cars and buses and auto rickshaws, bikes and motorbikes and scooters and anything else with wheels. People and animals are allowed, which is good because Anil has brought his dog, Bubbles. He's also brought the students and the teacher from the karate studio where he takes lessons. They are all wearing their white uniforms with brightly colored belts. Anil's is blue. All this time, I did not know that about him. He is a blue belt. The Istri ladies' whole family is here again, along with their 3 donkeys who have to be scolded for trying to eat the flowers tucked into Mrs. Rao's hair. A troupe of acrobats has arrived from somewhere. I've never seen them before, but their leader seems to know Book Uncle. Mayor Karate Samuel cuts a ribbon. Musicians play, dancers dance, jugglers juggle. Book Uncle's patrons wander around looking pleased. Acrobats leap over poles, karate champions block, punch, and kick. Mrs. Rao dabs at her eyes with the end of her sari. She is not sad. She is very, very pleased that we have learned to be such fine citizens. Our school bus driver belts out his A1 favorite songs from Karate Samuel's movies. He sings them at the top of his voice. We all sing along and clap our hands and stamp our feet in time. And here is Book Uncle. He cannot stop smiling. He sits in a chair next to his books. They are laid out in perfect stacks. The fruit man and his wife have helped Book Uncle set up this fine, new, reopened lending library. Look at the pavement. Newly patched. Nice and even. No broken bricks. And just look at the new and improved sign, re-lettered and sharpened up. Books. Free. Give one. Take one. Read, read, read. And that's the end of Book Uncle and Me by Uma Krishnaswamy. Thank you so much for joining me and reading this wonderful story together. And I hope that you find more excellent books to read and keep checking them out. As Book Uncle says, read, read, read. See you later.